In my experience, the majority of fence companies fail early, fail in the winter. Why is that? And what are the top 5 tools we've used in our business to grow exponentially the last 5 years? Stay tuned and find out. When we see fence companies fail in the wintertime, predominantly the main cause is they scaled back their marketing dollars that they spent in the wintertime. I can understand the thought process somewhat in that less money is coming in, there's less money to spend on marketing, so the budget shrink with the cash flow. The problem is, if you're doing the marketing properly, by reducing the marketing dollars, you're reducing the incoming lead flow, and it leads to a bit of a death spiral. Less leads lead to less jobs, lead to less money, lead to less money to spend on marketing, and on and on and on. So rather than think about reducing marketing budgets, I'd argue you find a way to increase your marketing budget, preferably 6 weeks ahead of whenever your slow season starts. For us, it's Thanksgiving plus or minus. So we would look at a calendar, step back 6 weeks, and start ratcheting up our marketing dollars in the fall, leading into our off season, which is typically kicks in around Thanksgiving. You see, think about it in terms of supply and demand. The supply of fencing projects in any given market tends to go down in the slow season. That's why it's a slow season. So the competition for those jobs increases, the demand goes up. So typically when supply goes down and demand goes up, the cost also goes up. In typical supply and demand. And in this case, we're talking about the supply of projects going down and the demand for those projects for companies going up. So we've got to be willing to pay more to go and capture those jobs. If we reduce our marketing budget, that means less of those jobs will be available to us. So do your company a favor. If you start to feel business getting slow in the fall and the wintertime, increase your marketing budget however possible to whatever makes sense for you that obviously doesn't put your company in peril, and see if it doesn't help. So now that we're talking about marketing and how to get in front of more customers, let's talk about the top 5 ways we get ourselves, Ozark Fence, in front of more customers in our market. The first is YouTube. We produce video content that puts myself and our company in front of as many customers as possible. And let's think about why YouTube is the first tool in the tool belt. Google is the largest search engine in the world. Google owns YouTube. Now, with the advent of AI, this is skewing a little bit of these results, but the idea is the more videos are on YouTube, the more that Google has information about what it is you're talking about. So when somebody goes to Google and searches fence companies near me, it knows that you're an area industry expert for whatever the subject is, in this case, fencing, and promotes your videos ahead of a lot of the Google ads. Now, a bit of an update to this is that now AI results are starting to come in more and more. The AI answers maybe are coming to the top before a lot of the other answers. AI is crawling from somewhere, right? So it is an algorithm of sorts that is crawling all of this information and presenting it to the customer. I still think it's a good idea to have yourself on YouTube presenting as much information about you being the knowledgeable local expert of the subject matter, fencing, for that algorithm, for the AI to crawl and provide these answers. It's presenting you as the local fencing expert for anyone searching in your area. I don't see how that's bad. The second tool we use is Facebook. We have a business page for Ozark Fence Company, and I think it's important to note here that business pages are the preferred way of presenting your business. I still come across fence companies advertising on Facebook as a personal page rather than a public or a business page. So you still have to friend the company, I guess. They have to accept your friend request and go from there. Having a business page presents a more professional foot forward. It also gives you a host of more analytics on how your content is doing. So the first step, I guess, here is to create a business page, if you haven't already, for your business. And then go in, insert yourself into the area Facebook pages, the area groups, the I Love Springfields, the Welcome to Republics of your area, because this is typically where people are going to ask for recommendations for all sorts of services we're interested in fencing. So having your business available in these groups, even if you're not posting in these groups, allows your business to be tagged in these groups if the groups require some sort of admissions process. A lot of times I see people try to tag businesses that aren't part of the groups. The name is gray. You can't click on it, so you have to go search and find them. Insert yourself into these groups. Now, I would argue that you would also have conversations in these about whatever service you offer or answer any questions that people may have about the service. Again, presenting yourself as the local expert, so you're keeping your brand in front of these customers longer. Maybe they did go to Google first, and now they're going to Facebook to ask for recommendations, or vice versa. The more of these places you can present your business, the more times you can be in front of this customer, the better off your brand will be, the higher your brand recognition will be to this potential customer. The third tool is Instagram. Now, we use Instagram as our live book of business, so to speak. When my dad and granddad had the company, the book of business looked like a kind of a 3-ring binder full of pictures, literally printed out pictures in picture sleeves of projects they'd done in the past. Now, Instagram is the modern equivalent of this book of business, and it allows you to present projects that are either currently ongoing or recently completed. It also lets you tell customers where it is those projects are being completed and interact with customers in sometimes as close as a neighborhood region of where the fences are being installed. So that when you're having conversations with these customers, you can present to them a not only current project you're doing, but you could also refer to them to other projects in their neighborhood they can view digitally or swing by the next time they're taking a walk around the neighborhood. So Instagram is a great way of showing that your company is staying with the times, that it's staying up to date with the current trends, but also giving your customers and potential future customers ready access to your projects 24 hours a day. Now, the fourth and fifth tools are going a little bit more old school, I guess. The fourth tool would be yard signs. Now, we still use yard signs. We use a ton of yard signs because they still get attention. Now, of course, our yard signs are blaze orange. They're hard to miss. Now, it used to be that we'd place these signs at the job site shortly before the project started so that the crews can know exactly which house they're going to without having to look house by house for house numbers. But after watching a Sean King interview, we switched how we thought about this. Now, as soon as the project is sold, a yard sign goes in, the future home of an Ozark fence project, so that now 4, 6, 8 weeks may go by between the time we sell it and the time we actually install that fence. We're getting additional marketing so that as people drive by the sign, it says future home of, so they know, hey, a fence is coming. Maybe we should think about a fence. And while these guys are in the neighborhood, we should have them give us a price for a fence. The sign gets switched out when their fence crew gets there to just a standard Ozark fence sign. So now, again, people are used to seeing it. They're seeing a new sign. It re-triggers them to think about, oh, there is a fence going here. The whole thought about the signs, one, it's great marketing and advertising. 2, it draws people's attention to that fence. Hopefully you're doing great work. Hopefully your guys are presenting themselves in a very positive light for your company, and you want to draw as much attention to both that project and to your team members as possible. Yard signs are a great way to call attention to not only the fence, but the way the fence is being installed. Bonus points is they're not very expensive. A lot of times they're reusable. Typically, we'll just leave the signs there until the customer gets tired of them and they'll throw them away. They're still fairly cost effective that way. But what we found is a portion of these customers will bring the signs back to us after a few weeks, and we can recycle and reuse them. It's a great way to bring a lot of attention to the project for not many dollars. The fifth tool is one that we've been using for the last 20 plus years, in that we go to any and every trade show we can get to. We're talking about home builder shows. We're talking about lawn and garden expos. We're talking about local community events. The Republic Chamber of Commerce, their local show, a one-day meet the community type show. We love putting our business in front of the people at these local shows. Sometimes they're not even there to buy fence. At these local community shows, they're just coming out to see who's in their community. Typically free shows. It typically, for some people, might be a time killer. But the point is, we're there and we're ready to answer any questions that a potential customer might have. But more than anything, we're keeping in front of these customers. A lot of times when we're talking about marketing, it's purely repetition. It's staying in front of the customers so that by the time either they or someone that has asked them is ready for a fence, you're top of mind, or your brand is at least one of the first people that gets considered for that fencing project. Trade shows are a great way to do that. Also, the local community shows, great way to be present, to answer questions, and just keep your branding in front of potential customers. One benefit of the local community shows we found also is we're typically the only fence contractor there. So anyone with any questions about fencing by default comes to us with those questions. They're a great lead generation source for us, and they're typically significantly less expensive than the 2 or 3 day trade shows. Don't sleep on these local community events. Guys, so in summation, 6 weeks before whatever slow season you might look at starts, you've got to consider increasing your marketing budget or at a minimum maintaining it. Also, implementing these 5 marketing tools could likely help your business for not a large financial infusion into the marketing tools. You could see yourself coming out of this slow season further ahead than you would have normally. If you guys have any questions, I'm always happy to interact with you guys in the comments section. For now, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll see you next time.